There was a time when every American home looked, in some small way, the same. Walk into almost any living room in the 1970s or 80s, and you'd find the same furniture, the same walls that had absorbed 30 years of cigarette smoke, and the sound of the evening news playing in the background. Nobody thought of these things as special. They were just part of everyday life. But 3 or 4 decades later, almost every single one of them has quietly vanished. Let's walk back through those rooms, one by one, and take a look at what used to be there. Rediscover your past by digitizing your family's memories with LEGACYBOX. Watch until the end of this video to find out more about preserving your legacy, and then visit legacybox.com/recollection. In the corner of the living room, there was often a portable piece of furniture that was full of cigarette butts. A brass ashtray stand sat right beside the good chair, within easy reach of whoever was smoking that evening. And these large ashtrays were treated the same way you'd treat a side table or a lamp. It was an accessory and not something anyone questioned. Tucked away in a kitchen drawer somewhere for 363 days a year, this electric carving knife had exactly one job: to carve the turkey on Thanksgiving and the ham at Christmas. It buzzed to life only on special occasions and was treated almost like a ceremonial object. It seemed like every family had one, even if they barely remembered where it was kept. Nearly every hallway, den, and basement had this dark wood paneling that covered entire rooms, floor to ceiling. By the time a few decades had passed, those walls had absorbed the smell of cooking meals, every cigarette ever lit in the house, and the sound of thousands of hours of television, including Wheel of Fortune, the nightly news, or whatever else was on. Before central air conditioning became the standard in most homes, a pair of box fans would sit in the windows all summer long, doing their best to move fresh air around the house. Kids would talk or sing into them just to hear their robot voice, which was probably the single most memorable thing about owning one. The wooden consoled TV wasn't the kind of TV we're used to today. It was a heavy wooden cabinet that was more furniture than appliance. It often weighed close to 200 pounds, took up an entire wall, and stayed in the same spot in the living room for years, sometimes decades, because moving it was practically impossible. And to change the channel on that television, someone had to physically get up, walk across the room, and turn a large dial by hand, click by click. A small handheld vacuum, known as the Dustbuster, lived in its charging dock, mounted on the kitchen wall. It was always ready to grab for quick cleanups of crumbs or other isolated messes. The handheld vacuum was convenient, plus it saved you time of dragging out the big vacuum and dealing with the cord. Remember when you would find mounted on the wall near the bathroom sink a small dispenser holding a stack of little paper cups, often with a floral pattern printed on them? Your mom would refill them weekly, without you even realizing, and it was such a common fixture that guests probably never even thought twice about it. Also in the bathroom, just behind the mirror in the medicine cabinet, you could find a small slot built directly into the wall. This was designed specifically for disposing of used razor blades into the wall cavity. It was a detail that was an ordinary part of the bathroom back in those days. It wouldn't be until years later someone would discover all the discarded blades in the wall. Kept in the kitchen junk drawer, or even a car's glove compartment, the tin cough drop box would get a second life after those delicious cough drops were gone. Sometimes it was Sucrets, or maybe another brand, but regardless, the tins they came in were very handy for storing lots of different trinkets. Every house seemed to own a granny square blanket, that scratchy patterned throw blanket that lived on the back of the couch. It was colorful and became the perfect accent to the dark wood decor of the 1980s. This blanket probably outlived the furniture and maybe even made it through a couple of moves, and somehow it would end up back on the couch. The plastic Tupperware pitcher that was a fixture in every single house was usually orange, and it was always sitting in the fridge waiting on the kids to get thirsty. It held everything from Kool-Aid to those cans of concentrated juices, and it usually had some leftover stains from years of use. The thing never got replaced either, no matter how many decades of daily use it went through. A row of matching and sometimes mismatched encyclopedias could be found lined up on a living room shelf, organized alphabetically. These were the books that were cracked open a couple of times per year, usually for a school project or a report, and they made any home look well educated. Most families only bought one set, so as the years passed, the volumes looked dated pretty quickly because the year was usually printed on the spine. Wood dominated the decor in decades past, and couches were no exception. A wood-framed couch with patterned cushions sat in dens and basements across the country, and their popularity came with a lot of help from the colonial resurgence that the bicentennial provided in 1976. These ornate couches were heavy too, so after years of use, they were nearly impossible for people to get rid of. There was a time when a tiny tin of cocktail fruit swimming in thick syrup was considered dessert following a family meal. This shelf-stable concoction sat alongside other tinned snacks like Vienna sausages, sardines, and Spam. These were the flavors of the 1970s and 1980s. If you owned a VCR, there is a really good chance you also had a wooden storage box to organize your VHS tapes. These paneled drawers were stackable, so they grew as your movie collection grew. They also just happened to match the walls of the era perfectly. If you owned a movie library back then, there is no doubt you had a few of these. Having portable lawn chairs was a necessity if you wanted to sit out in the yard and throw back a few beers. These chairs had character. They folded flat and had colorful woven straps that would leave a waffle pattern on the back of your legs after a few minutes of lounging. Backyards during the summertime would not have been the same without these. A stovetop would not have been complete without a percolating coffee pot brewing on top. The slow rhythmic bubbles filled the kitchen with the sound and smell of coffee that was synonymous with weekend breakfast and after-dinner conversations. None of these things were remarkable at the time. They were simply objects that filled ordinary rooms in millions of homes across the country. But now, they're all but extinct relics from decades past. Recollection Road and LEGACYBOX both believe it's important to preserve the past. If you're like me, there's a box of your family's treasured home movies and photos tucked away somewhere, and LEGACYBOX can help you preserve them digitally. The process is a simple and safe solution for converting your home movies and photos to thumb drive or to the cloud. Just send in your LEGACYBOX filled with old VHS and camcorder tapes, film reels, and pictures, and get back digital copies that can be easily enjoyed, shared, and kept organized. It's that easy. LEGACYBOX is trusted by over 1 million people, and it's all done right here in the USA. Get started preserving your past today. Go to legacybox.com/recollection to get an incredible 55% off. Buy today to take advantage of this exclusive offer and send in your memories when you're ready. Go to legacybox.com/recollection to save 55% while supplies last. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and make sure to check the description of this video for links to pick up a t-shirt. Thank you to our loyal Patreon supporters listed here. Visit patreon.com/recollectionroad to join the club.